Hola guys, welcome back to my channel. Hi, my name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the books that I read during the month of May. 3 physical books and 1 audiobook, which I mean is definitely not terrible. Obviously 4 is better than 0, but I just wanted to get more read. But anyways, so the first one that I finished was Emma by Jane Austen. I've heard sort of mixed things about this book. Some people say they hate it, some people say they love it, some people love Emma, some people hate Emma. Emma is about this very young, wealthy, beautiful girl. She's 21, I believe, and she sort of thinks of herself as a Hitch type person, like the movie Hitch. So she thinks that she can set people up, and she is very immature, but sort of her intentions are good. So I don't really understand why people have the issues that they have with Emma. I mean, Austen tells you in the very first sentence what kind of girl she is. So it says, the very first sentence of the book is, Emma Woodhouse, handsome, clever, and rich, with a comfortable home and happy disposition, seemed to unite some of the best blessings of existence, and had lived nearly 21 years in the world with very little to distress or vex her. So you automatically know that she's rich, she's beautiful, she's had no sort of difficulties in life. She comes from a very privileged place. So the outlook that she's going to have on a lot of things is going to be very privileged and very biased, because that's just who she is. That's who she starts out being in the book. And so a lot of people are really annoyed by her, and while I see that, at the same time I'm like, what did you expect? That's the very first sentence of the book is telling you what she's gonna be like. Overall, I enjoyed this story. It's not one of my favorite Austens. A lot of people I've seen have said that they like it better than Pride and Prejudice, or just as much. Definitely not. That's not the case with me. I love Mr. Knightley, who is like our Austen male protagonist for this book, but Pride and Prejudice is still my baby. So I enjoy the way that Jane Austen takes her time in letting Emma mature and develop as a character. I definitely enjoyed that. Though I think the book could have been shorter. It's a chunky one, so it could have definitely been shorter. I sort of understand the reasons that she kept it as long. The longer it went on, the more you got to see how Emma matured and changed. But I definitely feel like if she wanted to make it shorter, she definitely could have. I do not agree with some of the plot decisions that were made or specifically regarding Emma's friend, Mrs. Smith, or Miss Smith. I don't like how she was used as a character. I think it was unfair, and she almost became a little bit of a little throwaway towards the end, and I didn't like that as much. But I mean, overall I was entertained by this, and I did want to know what was gonna happen to Emma. I mean, it's Jane Austen, so you sort of know where it's gonna go, but it's just how she's gonna take you there. That's the fun of it. So I enjoyed this, but it's not one of my favorite Austens for sure. I gave it about a 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. Then I read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and it became one of my favorite reads of the year. It was so good. It's my first sort of like gothic romance novel that I can remember, I think, but it was so beautiful. So Rebecca is about this young woman who meets this widower in Monte Carlo, and she falls in love with him. She has this job of like being a companion, so essentially people paid her to be their companion, I guess, whatever that means. So she was training to be that with this lady in Monte Carlo, and she was being this lady's companion, and she meets this man who's a widower, and she falls in love with him, and he asks her to marry him, and she's like, all right. And so she goes off with him to Manderley, which is his estate and where he lives. And that's sort of where the story takes off. Rebecca is his ex-wife who has passed away. So it is about this woman being the new sort of head of the new wife and the new head of the house. But she's the new Mrs. De Winter. So she now has to do the things that Rebecca used to do before she passed. But the thing is that Rebecca had a very deep impact on everything that went on at Manderley, and her servants loved her. And so new Miss De Winter comes in, and she's very shy, she's very quiet, and so it's sort of her battling these inner demons and battling the way things used to be, and trying to find her way in this new house, and trying to find her way in a marriage. And it is so atmospheric and enthralling, and it grips you and like doesn't let you go until the very, very end. You just want to know what's going on. You want to know more about this Rebecca. I at least was infuriated at times with the Miss De Winter, but it was just, oh my God, I loved it. The language was just effortless and beautiful, and it created this incredible atmosphere for you. And what is her name? The lady. Mrs. Danvers is one of the best, creepiest characters I have ever read. Oh my God. I both loved and hated, and I hated and I loved and I feared her, because oh my gosh, just her scenes are amazing. And I was reading this in audio. I was reading this physical form and listening to it on audiobook, and sometimes I would do both at the same time, and I would just be like, oh my God, what? This lady is just bananas. And so I don't know, I can't say, and everything that you've been hearing about this book, because I know it's sort of regained some popularity. That's how I found out about it and wanted to read it, because I've seen a lot of people talk about it again on BookTube. Everything that everyone's saying is the truth. It's amazing. I love this book so much. I cannot wait to read more Daphne du Maurier. This is definitely an accessible sort of classic if you want to read if you want to read a classic and you're not too sure where to start. I would say this is a great starting point, because it's very, very accessible. There's one particular thing about it that I predicted. I don't know if I should say that it was predictable, because I don't know who else sort of predicted that the story was heading in that direction, but I had my suspicions. And so at first I was like, maybe like a 4.5, 4.75 because of that. But then when it got to like the very, very end and I finished, I was like, holy crap, no, 5 stars. And then, because the end left me like I just wanted to be like, wait, what? And then like turn the page and keep going, but that was it. And so I was like, fine. It was just really, really good. I definitely recommend it. I enjoyed it so much, and I almost immediately want to reread it. So that's just like how much I really loved it. Hey guys, so really quick thing I forgot to mention during my wrap up was that I was reading some notes at the end of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I read how the reason that she didn't give Mrs. De Winter a name, so the new Mrs. De Winter name, was because I think it was something like she didn't think of one or something like that, but there wasn't like a purposeful reason, or so she says, for her not really having her own name. But I wanted to mention how, despite that, I think it works out really, really well that you don't get to know her first name, because it just further intensifies that feeling of how much power Rebecca still has over the house and over the estate and the people there. And so much so that we know her name, we know Rebecca, and we get to know about her through the story, but yet we don't know the name of our narrator. And I think that that has a very powerful message that I definitely picked up on, and I was a little disappointed when I read that when I read her say that there wasn't a particular reason for her doing that. But regardless, I think this is one of those times when, like in English class, when the teacher's telling you that an author did this thing within a book, within his book, whether it's symbolism or another, and you're like, but did he really, or did she really? I think this is one of those things where, whether it was purposeful or not, I picked up on it, and I think it just made me enjoy the book even more, because it made me more drawn into it, and it gave me a greater sense of mystery, and it made me realize more the power that Rebecca still has in this story. Sorry, my hair is like a total mess, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I thought about that while I was reading, but for some reason I didn't read my notes as I was doing the wrap up, and so I just wanted to mention it here, and let's go on with the video. Then I needed something to sort of lighten my spirit and my mood, and so I picked up Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I know that you guys might have seen this in my June TBR, but I'm here to tell you that I finished it in May. So yeah, I mean, what else is there to say about Harry Potter that hasn't already been said? I love it. It's my favorite. It's my baby. It's my everything. And I gave it 5 stars. And I enjoyed it like I do every single time that I read it. The last book that I finished was the audiobook that I listened to, Sally Ride, America's First Woman in Space by Lynn Sher. And I listened to this on audiobook. I got it through my library's Overdrive account. And I really, really enjoyed myself listening to this book. So this past month? Yes. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, I'll leave all my social media down below. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I visited the Kennedy Space Center here in Florida this past month, and both my brother and my partner love space and NASA and everything to do with like space exploration and things like that. And so going there was amazing because I got to see both of them essentially just be like little kids in awe of everything that they saw and of things that NASA has been able to accomplish, and just the human mind has been able to do over time. And so I love to learn, and I was never the best at science, but at the same time I love and admire science so much. And so Galileo, he's literally like, his head is just right in my purse, you nosy. So I really enjoyed myself. I knew that I was going to enjoy myself because I love museums and I love learning and things like that, but I didn't think that I was going to enjoy myself as much as I did. But I absolutely loved it. Like, they would show you videos and things, and I would get goosebumps and I would want to get emotional because it was so awesome. So when I left, I sort of still had all of that in my mind, and I was going through my Overdrive account, or the audiobooks that were available on Overdrive, and I saw that they had Sally Ride, America's First Woman in Space, available on audiobook, and I downloaded it because hey, of course I want to know about America's First Woman in Space. I also want to know about the first woman in space, period, but she was Russian and I think she only flew once, and I don't know how much is known about her. But anyway, so I started listening to this, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's very accessible biography about Sally Ride, about the person that she was. I found out many things that I didn't know. I knew who she was and I'd heard about her, but I didn't know that she was a queer woman. So she kept that part very secret, or private, she liked to say, because, you know, obviously NASA I think in the end it said that she has been the only sort of known gay or lesbian or queer LGBTQ individual to have been an astronaut. None other have sort of said that they are. So she so far is the only one that we know of. So I didn't know that she had this like 23 or 27 year relationship with this woman. She was a feminist. She just wanted so many girls and boys, just the youth, to really be involved in science, and she recognized how important that is. And she started like this program called Sally Rides Science, where kids can go and learn about science and ask them any questions. She was involved in both of the investigative committees that came about after both of the disasters, the Challenger and the Columbia. She advised President Clinton and President Obama. Don't think she advised President Bush. She might have. I don't remember. I don't think so though. They gave, like, she was just like this awesome woman. She's an amazing tennis player. Like, she played with Billie Jean King, and yeah, it was so fun to learn all of these things about her. Oh, I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars, and it was great, and I definitely recommend it. So yeah, those are the books that I read in the month of May. I thought I was only going to be able to read one book, so I kind of picked up the speed a little bit towards the end and was able to read a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought about them. Let me know what you think about Emma. Let me know if you've read Rebecca. Let me know what should be my next Du Maurier. And yeah, as always, I love and appreciate you guys very, very much. Mwah.